And today I have the pleasure of being your speaker today. And I'm learning how to share the screen and be as proficient as possible with it. And today we have the wonderful topic, of timeless wisdom and evolutionary vision, which I think we've already started talking about and been talking about since January and this morning. That timeless wisdom that is bubbling up to our consciousness, that's allowing us to be happy and at peace. And stepping into the unknown is the theme for the month of April. And I love stepping into the unknown because I don't care how much I've tried to control my life. I have never known what the day is going to hold for me, and I have survived and thrived my whole life. So we continue to step into the unknown and embrace the winds of change. And I love having this idea of the winds of change because we always get to feel the sun on our face, feel the change happening with day to day. The newness is in the change, and we're living a constant and never-ending change. This second will create a minute, and this minute will create an hour. And these hours will develop a day, and the days become weeks, and the weeks become a year. And this year will develop in our lifetime, our life. We live through the seasons of winter, spring, summer, and fall, and we have been in a constant change since the beginning. I want to share this slide with you, that all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his lifetime or in time will play many parts. And this is from there you go. This is from Act 2, Scene 7 or something like that. But I want to share it with you because basically the winds of change is that we get a blank slate when we're born. We have all the tools that we've been accepting and giving and experiencing in our lifetime in our toolbox. And we get to paint or write or direct or script out any story that we want in our lifetime. And like every great story, it needs a main character. It needs a story to tell, a producer, a director, an audience, and I will even say a critic, because whether we like it or not, that little voice is there anyway. So how are you writing your story? How is the story playing out for you? And the question that I came up when I was thinking about this is the main character, if it starts out playing a child, even in the course of a stage play or a movie, the child doesn't remain the same. The child grows and develops within that story. And a young man or a young woman, that a young adult that falls in love for the first time can only happen once. First time means first once. And a woman, if the woman becomes pregnant with a child, she can't hold on to that pregnancy no matter how much she enjoys the experience of becoming a mother. Sooner or later, she needs to birth that child. In all of our life, we strive to become an excellent whatever in our life. An Olympic athlete gets the gold medal for his particular or her particular talent. But 4 years later, that Olympic athlete may get a silver or may not even be able to compete. It's never the same. The experiences always change. We're in an ever-present change, child to adult to wisdom. So where your life story takes place and who you're with and how much you love your story is all about you. You're the main character, you're the director, you're the producer, you're the person that cuts the film and leaves the extra pieces on the floor. You are the writer, the storyline producer of life. So what we tell ourselves, what we make it mean, becomes what we experience, what we embrace, what we hold true. And I still hold on to this. It's so valuable, is when Reverend Sunshine said, if you take in a breath, that is good. But if you hold on to that breath and not exhale, that what was good now becomes painful and can disrupt the quality of your life if you don't let it go. But the minute you let go, life rushes back in to fulfill you with more good. So it's always a process of change. And I just love the thought that God is omnipresent in everything as everything. And everything out there changes. Winter becomes spring, spring becomes summer, summer becomes fall. Everything changes. Our spirit is like that, omnipresence. We are who we are inside this beautiful body of ours. And yes, I said beautiful body. We are on the inside. And we may change the way we look at things. We may change the way we tell our stories, but it is us inside an ever-changing world. I am not the same little girl I was at 5, and I'm not the same little girl I was at 15. We're never the same age or in the same experience, but we are definitely the one spirit magnified or demonstrated in God, for God, with God, as me, as you. Like God is the ever-present yes in life, we are the ever-present choice. And we get to choose what we focus on. We get to choose what we make it mean. We are born with the wisdom and intelligence of the world, but we're educated and taught in facts. And as we develop facts, we think we know, but knowing is not the same as wisdom. So we have to, I tend to be a mom. I'm going to invite you to let go of what you think you know, that you can experience something new, because life is an ever-changing. It is offered that we get to choose, we get to observe, we get to choose again, and that our life is the sum of our choices. I'm going to tell you 3 stories today about water. I don't know why, I don't know how. I want to tell you 3 stories about water. One is when I first moved here from Texas to California, and my parents took me to the beach. I am the 5th of 9 kids, so the whole herd of us ran to the water. The older ones knew how to swim and jumped right in and did great. The younger ones, like myself, we ran to the water. Our feet got wet. We ran back to mom. We ran back to dad. We went back. Ooh, I'm going to jump over this wave. Little bitty wave about this big, right? And jumping was fun. And every time I jumped, I went out a little bit further in the water. And now I'm kind of waist deep. And even though the wave came in and I jumped, it didn't have the same effect. Now the water pushed me to shore. And I tumbled and I got, no, what was that? But I got up and I ran back out there. And then I started jumping into the wave and jumping over the wave. And I kept practicing until I could catch the wave and ride that energy back into shore. And each time, each lesson, every time I stepped into the ocean, I've never stepped into the same ocean twice, because there's large waves, there's small waves, there's south currents, there's north currents. There's always different, but the same. And if we trust the process with what we know, the wisdom that we were born with, we can handle no matter what wave comes to us. And we want to be better swimmers. We don't want to just be, maybe some of us will like jump in the little waves on the shore, but my goal was to become a better swimmer. And in that, I learned how to play in the waters of change. And I think it's interesting that in psychology or in stories or in any type of thing where they want to relate emotions, they use water. When we honor the 4 directions, we look west and we embrace the watery waves of emotions, for they go out and they come in, and it's just always a flux and a flow. So you don't need to figure out how it works. You just need to believe that it's possible to play in this dynamic ocean of life. And spirit thinks or knows itself. And as a result of the interaction, creation manifests. Spirit thinks or knows itself. And as a result of interaction, creation manifests. Creation is the play of life upon itself through self-imagination. So God is moving through us. God is what we focus on, we bring about. What we think about, we bring about. God can only do to us what we choose to move through us. Because how many of you know that you can block pleasure? Yep. I'm a card-carrying member of that as well. However, I catch it faster and change it quicker. So we always want to be able to look at what it is that we're thinking about, what it is that we're asking for. Because if we look at the world and we say that the world is abundant and it's joyful, that pretty soon we've trained our nervous system to look out into the world to see what is abundant and joyful. But if we only look at things and listen to news commentators and we think that there's sadness and there's bitterness and there's corruption and that there's lack out in the world, we also train our minds to look for that. So we have to stand guard at the door of our mind and make sure that we are creating an open, loving space for God to move in and through us. Even if we don't like it, eventually a gift comes from it. And I just want to ask if anybody wants to share an experience where you thought you were never going to be able to make it. And despite your best efforts, you still made it and thrived through it. Anybody have that kind of experience? I know I have. And it was tough. And I was at a party a couple of years ago, and this lady comes up to me and she goes, "Do you remember me?" And I go, "Well, your face looks familiar." She goes, "You used to have an account at Bank of America, no, Security Pacific." She goes, "And I remember you came in one day in tears with rolled pennies and rolled nickels to pay for your mortgage because you were newly divorced and not knowing how to make it." And I just I can't believe that I had that experience. And yes, I see Hannah with her hand up. I'm aware of that. Hannah, what's your story, my sweet love?
Hi, everyone. Well, my most recent experience where this happened, that was, I guess, the most important experience of my life to this point, was taking the financial freedom course that you taught at Downey. During that time, I had been going through quite a bit of difficulty, a separation, a newborn, moving back into my mother's home, not being able to really work with a newborn, and just feeling like I was in over my head with life, I guess, at the moment. And that's when I had already been going to Downey, but I really felt like it was time to dive in. And what I learned was so much more about the circulation of money. It had so much to do with me and what was kind of holding me back, and who was the one in charge of the carriage. And it was like, oh my gosh, so many things changed. There was a moment where it clicked. I'm not going to do this anymore. It's not serving my life. What am I going to do? Well, now I have all these tools. And the first thing was to go back to school. And now, I mean, I'd say 2.5 years later, my business is really thriving. I feel so blessed to be involved in our center. I have a nice little condo downtown with Frankie, and I just feel like things are completely different. And what I wrote down on my goals, even the actual numbers of what I wanted to make monthly, I have surpassed that. And in the moment in writing those down, I never thought I would ever even see that like that type of financial freedom. And all the affirmations that I learned, I even taught the kids, and I felt like it really changed my life. And I'm just so, so grateful. So that's from me.
That's wonderful from you. And I love that. I love seeing that, how much that you embrace the teachings. And it's wonderful. I'm just so proud of you and so happy for you, because so many people can learn the principles of science of mind, but when you actually take them and apply them to your life, and you start seeing the benefits of your beliefs manifest for you, then you can't help but be excited and share. And then it's like money is not the measure of God, but it is easily measured. So it's a way of testing what you believe and what you're willing to have faith in. And you are like a shining example, a possibility of that. And Reverend Sunshine's going to let me teach that later on in the year. Shameless plug. And we will do that again. The encouraging message to all of this is that all is a matter of what we may be. The encouraging message in all is, no matter what may be in subjective state of your thought, the conscious state can change it. This is what the power of treatment does. That's the power of prayer. And the prayer isn't for God to get on board with what we want. It's for us to get open to receiving it. It is for our nervous system, our beliefs, our openness. And there's so many ways that what our desires can come to us. It is just amazing to me that how gifts happen all the time. I was walking with a friend the other day, and she goes, I bought you 2 stocks, not a big deal, only worth 6,000, but I wanted you to have it. And I'm like, okay, don't act like this is a big deal, but this is a big deal. I'm like, how grateful. What? But she goes, I just wanted to gift you with something. And what a powerful thing, right? I didn't even consciously pray for that, but I consciously asked for life to be joyous, abundant, playful, and fun. And I think that that is a good demonstration, like Hannah's. Greatness comes out through the cause of a vision. So if you have a vision for life, your cause, whatever you see out in the world that you are engaged in, that you would like to augment, that you would like to bring to the world, when you hold the vision for that, your greatness comes out of it. And I want to share with you a story about this lady that was amazing, brilliant lady, but she didn't know how to swim. She was so good at what she did. She negotiated the NAFTA with, I think it was President Clinton. I don't remember the details of the story. I just remember the reason for the story. And she negotiated a contract with North and South America at the time. And her daughters wanted to take her on a trip to celebrate, and they wanted to float down a river. And the mother didn't know how to swim, so she wasn't anxious about getting in the water. And they said, that's okay. We're all going to wear life rafts. Nobody's going to swim it. We're going to float. But the mother stood on the river's edge and she fought it. She was afraid of it. She didn't want to do it. She kept saying, I'm scared. I'm scared. And then even when she got into the water, she held on to the reeds next to the banks of the water. So she was getting banged against the rocks. She said, this isn't fun for me. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. And the daughters kept saying, that's because we want you to float. We want you to float. Let go, Mom. Quit resisting, surrender, and float. And after moments of struggle, the mother finally released. And she said that in the moment, oh my God, I'm going to die or I'm going to float. And then she just surrendered. And in the floating, she felt the beauty in that moment. And even though it was just a moment, the beauty of life expressed itself, and she felt and saw a magnificence she never experienced before. And she felt so moved, she started crying. So now she's floating down the river crying. And now she starts laughing because the surrender to the beauty and feeling the love brought out joy in her life that she had never experienced before. And then her daughter started laughing because her mother floating down that river started thanking God, and anybody and everybody around the riverbanks could hear her going, "Thank you for carrying me through life. I of myself do nothing. It is the Spirit of God that carries me through life." And this is what I think 2020 and 2021 is asking us to surrender to. Is that, like Gary said, and like Lily said, and like Sunshine said, is that we are here to give up control so that we can express more than what our little hands can hold on to. That we open up our life to prove me in this, God. Pour out a blessing so big that I have to know it's from you. It is from God itself. That we can't put our life that we had in the 60s in our life that we have in 2021. It just doesn't fit. Although avocado is coming back, we're still not going to do our countertops and everything in that color, right? With a little bit of orange and a little bit of brown and yellow. We can always revisit, but we can never go back. Does that make sense? I know you guys are following me, or you would have hands raised and questions going on. God is life. My limited human sense of life is now gone. There is no longer a need to demonstrate health. There is no longer age, and therefore there is no youth to demonstrate. My life is not mine. My life is God's. And that life is always lived at the standpoint of infinity and eternity. And that's by Joel Goldsmith. When we surrender our little lives and understand that we are actually witnessing God express as life through us as us, we aren't worried about the little things anymore. We don't have to worry about the little things that happen daily. We're like the lilies of the field that toil not. We can express and live our lives in joy and not through struggle and limitation. I noticed in my talk that there are two types of thinking that I seem to witness a lot in people. So because I witness this in people, I want to change it in me. And one of them is, I have to do this all by myself. I always do this. If I want it done right, I got to do it. Nobody ever helps me. And that kind of self-talk doesn't inspire me or inspire you to help me. So I have to let go of that. And I need to ask. I need to ask for help. I don't want to do this alone. I've proven that I can bring the bacon, make the bacon, cook the bacon. I've done all of that. Been there, done that. Have the t-shirt, right? I don't want to do that anymore. I want to share it. I want to express and learn how to develop a team. And I know that in each and every one of us, we might have some experience in this. But even if I ask for help, if I don't let go and surrender and trust the process, I'm just going to get in your way, or here, let me do it. You're not doing it as fast or the way I would or whatever. Those are things that I need to let go of. And I'm only speaking from the me right now, the mental and emotional. The other one that I wanted to talk about a little bit is someone sees that you're doing something and they try to help and they want to help, but you interpret it as, what do you think, I can't do this on my own? What's the matter? You think you can do it better? Where did I learn this? How did I come up with this? I don't know. But it doesn't create an environment for people to thrive and people to want to grow and share. If I'm the one that's always right, how much fun would I be to hang around with? If I'm the one that always has to do it my way and we're going to do what I say, then how much fun is it for you to be around me? So I know I'm probably just talking about myself, but there might be one or two of us in the crowd that could benefit from just, you know what, today I want to fall in love with you again. I want to experience what makes you happy. How can I be the wind beneath your wings and support you in whatever you do? And I'm looking at Mert's smiling face. And a couple of weeks ago, Mert and Gary and I were in a room together, and she mentioned something about the 80-20 rule. And I think it was Janet. I think Janet was with us. But she sent a book that she co-authored, and I read it. And I go, you know what? I only wear 20% of my wardrobe 80% of the time. 20% of the stuff I have in this house, I use only 20%, 80% of the time. So it was so powerful for me. And I think I'm a minimalist, but I keep finding stuff to give away. And the reason why I say give it away, I want it to go and fulfill its purpose in life. It was meant to be enjoyed, not to sit in my drawer or on my bookshelf. So thank you, Mert, for helping me with that. And I just heard this, and I don't remember where, but it was this week, and I think it was Brene Brown, but she said, if you cannot receive with an open heart, you're not really giving with an open heart. You're looking for acceptance or praise. And that is a worth issue, and we all have that. We all want to be valued. We all want to be looking good and being right. But when we surrender that and know that by virtue of our birthright, we're already there, we can allow people to be with us and not be threatened by us or not be intimidated by us. We're just loving. And I'm looking at the clock and I'm almost done. But you seem insistent on not recognizing this universal pattern of growth and change. It seems that each of us has to learn on our own what is well hidden, but also in plain sight. And that's Richard Rohr. And I'm going to tell you that when I worked in the prison or when I work with clients, they can tell me all about the past. They know it. They're right about it. They can feel it. Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you why that person's no longer welcome in my life. They are so convicted in their story of the past. And then I ask them, okay, you have 3 practitioner sessions with me. You can complain all you want. On the 4th one, we take personal responsibility and we envision what it is that you want to get. We know what we want to get over. What are we going to get to when we get over this? And we start talking about using the imagination to call forth a life that you want to live, that goes beyond your past, to do things that are your heart's calling in your way for you at your time. Using your imagination and practicing it so much. This is why I love visioning, is that it's not easy to do. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody just talks about the past. The vision is looking at what we have and saying, this is a good foundation. And this is what I see coming to pass. How I see the church growing, how I see each and every one of us healing and revealing relationships and health and abundance and loving ourselves so much that we can't help but love one another. That when you call forth a vision that encourages you and inspires you, it pulls you forward. And now the past goes from being the what is the window in the front of the car to the rearview mirror. Now your future is the front of the car because that's the direction you're going. And I just think that it's important that we look at that. Corinthians from the Bible. Yes, I'm quoting the Bible because I've come to learn it the more I understand and know science of mind. For we fix our attention not on things that are seen, but on things that are unseen. What can be seen lasts only for a time, but what cannot be seen lasts forever. Call upon God. That's 2 Corinthians. And then I want to share this story. This one it was offered through the notes from the home office. It's on Lake Lima near Geneva in Switzerland, situated between Alps and the Jura Mountains. There are more than 70 different types of winds, 70 winds. On the days where there's very little winds, sailors scan the becalmed lake looking for ripples in the water. When the skipper locates the ripples, he changes direction and heads toward the disturbances to find the wind blowing there. The sails fill up with wind and the boat receives the power to sail quickly towards its destination. The disruptions, the ripples, can empower us and fill our sails to move us in the direction of our destination. That not only do we embrace the changing winds, that we also learn how to use those disruptions for the power to fuel our destiny, to fuel our vision for our future. It's not around them, it's through them. Use them for the power of your dreams, your hopes, your promises. And I just want to invite you to take a deep breath as I take a deep breath and breathe in the power and the presence and the love of God. That knowing right where we are, that we are fueled, we are remembered, we are revitalized, we were revisioned in purpose. You are God's manifestation of an idea known as you. Recognize, feel, and embody and embrace that power. You are God's manifestation of his idea or its idea of you. How powerful, how beautiful is that? And that every point and place through the eyes of your own soul, you choose the direction in which your trajectory goes. You choose the path you want to step on. And no matter what path you step on, it is sourced and supplied in love for love with love. And in great gratitude, I simply release, I let go, I allow it to be. And hopefully we say together, even though I can't hear you, and so it is, or now it is, as we have come accustomed to say. Thank you so much for letting me share today. I love each of you.